everyone, this is Mary at Bensell Greenhouse, and today I'm talking about using perlite as a propagating medium to start some of your plants. One of the things that we like to do here, of course, is starting all of our own or propagating our own plants, and we use a lot of different techniques. I like to use perlite for a lot of my plants that require minimal water when you have them in your home. Things like your snake plants, what we have in front of me is my Schefflera arbicolas. I've got a stem from our plumeria, which are these large trees back here. I have some orchid cactus cuttings. I have an oleander stem. I have a ficus elegamentissima, and I have some ficus benjamina stem cuttings. And I'm going to show you how we use perlite to propagate all of these types of plants. This is a new perlite. It's dry, it's somewhat dusty. I'm kind of holding it away from my face. And here is a perlite that I have reused probably anywhere from 5 to 10 times. It's got a little bit of soil in it, and it's starting to turn a little bit green. It's still very viable, it's still usable, but be careful so that it's not real dirty when you start your new cuttings. Like anything else, when we take cuttings, we let many of them sit and heal over before we actually use them. And one of the reasons why I really like to use perlite is because it holds moisture and it wicks it away. And it's perfect for plants that require a drying period in between. So cactuses, succulents, snake plants, Schefflera arbicolas. I even have a piece of bromeliad here that has a small stem, and these like to go dry in between as well. This is no different than any propagating technique that you have. We still kind of stay below the 6-inch rule. We want to make sure that our pieces are not super tall because it's too hard for a plant to try to grow root systems while you have a plant growth going on at the top. So keep your propagating stems shorter. I just will be using this guy. I'm going to take him, and I have this dry perlite here. I'm real cautious about keeping that away from my face until I water it in. It takes the dust down. You don't want to get this in your lungs. It makes you cough. So you water it in. I make sure that I have a container that has some drainage on it. So think about where you're putting it. You'll probably have to put it on some sort of saucer or plate. I keep it nice and watered in. And then what I will do is I'll take all my different stems and I will loosen this up, and I'm going to stick it down in here. Same rule of thumb. Like on my ficus trees here, I will remove the bottom stems, and the leaf node will, where the leaves were attached, where the node is what goes down underneath the soil line. That's where the root systems are going to go. So I'm pulling off some of the lower leaves and I'm just sticking them in. Same thing with the oleander. This guy's a little bit too tall to start, so I'm going to cut him in half, and I'm still going to stick this. And there's the leaf node, so that's going to go down underneath the perlite level. Same thing with this guy. With my orchid cactus stems, okay, they just get lined up in here like that. And here's that elegamentissima. I can see all the different little nodes coming up and down, so I'm going to get that guy in there. And even my plumeria. So I'm going to make a nice hole in my perlite and get him down in there and let him go. I'm going to water him in, and it just drains well. Perlite holds moisture depending upon the heat around it for a few days, so I'm always checking. Every season, of course, it's going to dry out differently, so keep an eye on it. It's a wonderful, wonderful way to take cuttings, especially if you've not had some luck with some of your plants. So we had started these Schefflera arbicolas. I took some cuttings probably mid-October. It can take a few months for the roots to start working and start generating on these plants. I'm just going to pull this out because I did pull a bunch of these away. Many of them are rooted beautifully, and a lot of them are not. So there's one here that's just got a couple roots on it. I'm going to clean it away, take any of the leaves that have fallen down in here and make this nice and clean. I'll get these guys back inside, but I just want to show you when it works beautifully. I want to show you what the root system looks like. And here's a guy that we rooted in perlite. He was rooted at the same time. Some of them just go faster than others. It's just a normal thing that happens. but the root system on this is beautiful. We just pulled this out 2.5 months later, and this guy's got enough root system to support what's going on up top. So he's going into a 4-inch pot, and now we have a brand new plant. We'll let these guys rest for a few days and take root before we put them out for sale. But it's a really, really great way for you to try to propagate some of your plants, especially if you haven't had good luck, and with water too. Like a snake plant, I've seen many videos with people rooting snake plants in water. I've just never had good luck with that. But this is such an easy way to do it. We just cut our snake plants into pieces, and I literally just line them up. Line them up in the perlite. So when you put all your stems, when you get all your stems into your perlite, I've usually watered mine down first, okay? So we saw that earlier on in the video, and I get it watered in. What I usually do is I do check this, because in a house it's going to be a little bit less humidity than, say, the greenhouse, but I tend to take this over to your sink and then you water it in when it's dry. Okay, the biggest issue that you're going to have after about a month or so, you're going to come in and try to pull your plant out, and if it just pops right out, you know that there's no roots. So if it's got a bit of a give, if it's just holding on, you know there's a root system in there. Now you pay a little bit more attention to how quickly your perlite is going to dry. But again, we've got plants that can retain moisture. Now they've got a root system. And like a snake plant, if you're watering it every 2 to 3 weeks and it's established a root system in the perlite, your weekly watering, or however long it is going to suffice for these types of plants when you're rooting them in perlite, because they can dry out, especially if they have a root system. So you're gonna have to kind of experiment for watering and see how quickly it dries out. A lot of times I will just lift this up and feel it for weight. The heavier, of course, the more water moisture there is in there, the lighter it is, the more it's dried out. So just pay attention. You will get the hang of it. It really is not difficult. It's very easy to do, and I just like the success. I hate for everybody to try propagating things and to not have success. This is so much fun, and I'm just a DIY person. I think this is a great opportunity for everyone just to try something new.